social studies, last class of the day. All right, you all get to do a crossword puzzle.
Yay.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through the textbook, and then I'm going to have you work on the crossword puzzle on your own. So this is about the Northeast, business in the Northeast. Where is the Northeast? Look on your map. Where would you say that is? It's on the Atlantic Ocean. Where is the Atlantic Ocean? Is this the Atlantic or is this the Atlantic? Grant.
On the right side.
Yes. So this is north, south, west, east. The northeast. So we're talking about this area between Maine and probably Virginia. That little section. What do you think the main source of trade is? Is it by land or is it by water? Being that it's on a very large, little tiny piece of water, right?
So tiny.
Little teeny tiny baby pond. Emmy,
What page are we
we are on page 128 in our textbook. So what do you think they use mainly for trade, to help them trade, especially with other countries such as Europe? Airplanes? What? James? Yes, using the what? What body of water are they going to use? Correct. All right, so let us read Business in the Northeast, page 128. So we are going to read a short bit, and then you're going to work on your crossword puzzle. So who would like to read that? Business in the Northeast on page 128.
Northeastern states are sometimes called the New England. Most people who settled in these states were from Britain. Before the War of 1812, shipping or transporting trade goods by ship. It was the most important business in the Northeast.
Whaling.
Whaling was another important business.
Who can tell me before we continue, what does whaling mean? What is whaling? What do you think it involves? Coal. Yeah, unfortunately. All right, read on, my dear.
People use whalebone to make oil and candles. People also use whalebone to make objects such as glasses and tools.
All right, so whaling. Does that still go on today?
Yes.
Unfortunately. Cole.
I was watching the Steve Irwin episode, and so they found this old abandoned place where they used to kill whales, and there was still like whale carcasses and stuff.
Oh.
Yuck.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Fortunately, for the most part, there are lots of restrictions on whaling. Not all countries abide by the restrictions, but for the most part, there are very strict restrictions. Just like deer hunting and other forms of hunting that we do, there are restrictions. What does that mean? Restrictions. Can you go out deer hunting or turkey hunting or whatever kind of hunting and just kill as many animals as you want?
Yes.
No. Christian, what am I talking about? What is this restriction?
There's like rules that you have to follow. Like you can't kill certain animals, and you need like a pass to kill animals. Like
A permit
Yeah, permit.
or a license. Yes, very good. And the restrictions are, if you are deer hunting, you can only deer hunt for maybe a buck or a doe, but you can't hunt for both. There are certain seasons. And if you can't just go out and shoot as many as you want. There is a limit, thank goodness. And that goes for anything that you're hunting. Turkey hunting's going on right now, so there's a limit as far as how many turkeys you can get and what the size are. Yes, Jeremiah?
Me and my dad, he's bringing his friend, and his friend is bringing his son so I can play with him. This weekend, we're going to.
I know you mentioned that last week. Yes, it's very exciting. So when you go turkey hunting, you have to get up really early. Really early, because the turkeys nest in trees, and turkeys are really smart. So if you get up if the sun starts coming up, you will not have an opportunity because the turkeys will see you and fly away. So all hunting is early. You have to get up way too early. That's why I would not be a good hunter.
The place that we're going is like a really far away to get there, so it might take like half a day.
Very nice. All right, Olivia.
It also goes like with the population.
That's right. Very good. Very good. The DNR, which is the Department of Natural Resources, they are in charge of keeping track of the herds or the flocks. They are monitoring how many animals are in a certain area, and that also goes hand in hand with the restrictions of how many animals can be hunted that particular season. Now, it'd be very hard to monitor how many whales there are in the ocean. The ocean is rather vast. But whaling back in the time that we're talking depleted the whales to almost extinction. So, to at least endangerment. So they had to do something. So it's very hard again to monitor the ocean, but they do have restrictions. Yes, McKenna.
My dad works in the DNR.
Yes. So McKenna's dad knows all about these type of topics. All right, let us move on. Let's move to 129. There is that first paragraph. Who would like to read that? Emma.
Many more factories opened in the Northeast. There were several reasons. First, New England states had fast-moving cities. These could provide powerful factories. Second, many people were looking for work. The New England states had short long seasons for farming. Winters were long and there were fewer jobs then. Many people, especially young women, then worked in the factories.
All right, so factories. The Northeast, if you think of our seasons, our winter, our 4 seasons, is very similar to New England. They might even have it's a little harsher because of the Atlantic Ocean. They can sometimes bring more snow, but it's very similar to our winters. All right, let's keep reading. Christian,
People in
New England.
New England built factories to produce goods. Before the War of 1812, goods were brought from New Orleans,
New England.
New England. But during the war, fewer goods came from there. Factories in New Orleans
New England.
began to produce more goods. After the war, New England factories turned
Southern.
southern pattern into
Yarn. Yep.
of cloth.
All right, so no more factories are being built. And so instead of shipping everything off to England to have things made, they are now making them themselves. As you would see, cotton. They have factories now in New England that can make cotton into yarn and cloth. So is that beneficial to the United States to be able to make their own goods? Or is it better to ship them off to England, to have England make the goods? Which is more financially feasible or smart? To make them ourselves, to make the goods ourselves, or to ship them off? What do you think? If you think of the expense, if you think of the money, what is more financially sound, making our goods ourselves or shipping them off to England or Europe? James? Yes. Do you think it takes time to ship things to England? In ships? Yes, not if you fly it, but on ships it's going to take weeks. And then they have to wait more time while they produce the material, and then they have to sell, England is going to sell it back to us. So yeah, it's a huge expense. That is not, that they don't have to, we don't have to pay if we can do it ourselves. It's huge. All right, turn to page 130. Is this a primary or secondary source, this picture? It's a mill town in 1861 in New Hampshire. Is that secondary or primary? Gabe? Toby? Why is it secondary? Yes, it's a picture of the primary source. Remember, the primary source is the actual picture, okay? So if I had this picture right here in my hands, that would be the primary source. I do not have it, obviously. So I have this, though, which is a picture, which is a secondary source. All right. 130. Who would like to read? Jeremiah. You can read that whole section.
At first, a factory made only one kind of product. For example, a factory might simply make yarn. Workers were hired to knit the yarn into cloth or clothing in their homes. Soon factories took over the whole process of making goods. Workers no longer worked in their homes but in factories. People needed to live closer to the factory. Some factory owners built villages for their own workers.
All right, interesting. So as factories grew, as you can see in this picture, the factory actually has its own little village or town that is built around it. So its workers don't have to travel far to get to work.
That's nice.
Yeah. Yes, Cole?
Is that a painting or a real picture?
Well, it doesn't really say. It just says, it's probably a, it looks like a picture, but I'm not 100% sure. That would be like a really amazing painting if it were a painting.
Yeah.
But I think it's a photo. It's a photograph. It looks, if it's not, then I'm shocked at whoever painted it. Good question, though. So the urban versus the rural areas are changing vastly. The urban areas are growing around what? What is the thing that the urban area, remember urban is city, rural is a country. So factories are changing the scheme or the look of what the cities are looking like. Little towns are being built around factories because factories are becoming a boom in our country. And it's going to continue to get that way more and more and more. This is just the beginning. 131, who would like to read that first paragraph? Wensheen, why don't you read that whole section before God's blessing?
Work in the factories was hard. Work hours were long. Factories were sometimes dangerous and unhealthy. Many children worked in the factories.
Wait, what?
What?
Oh, come on.
Children worked in the factories. How would you like that?
No, thank you.
All right, keep going, Wensheen. Shh.
They worked Monday through Saturday.
Wow.
No time
Wait, what? No school.
I like my life.
How would you like that? Monday through Saturday, you had to work in a factory, probably from sun up to sundown,
No, thank you.
with very little breaks, very dangerous work environment, and probably pretty young, younger than you all.
I like my life. Yeah.
So that's a little different than what y'all are doing, right? Yes.
A lot.
Jeremiah.
If they pay us, if they pay the children lots of money, I'd do it.
No. They probably paid very little, long, long hours, very unsafe. And no, you need an education. Trust me. All right, so they worked, so they did not have time to go to school. All right, so keep going, Winsheen.
Christian leaders and parents wanted children to learn how to read and write. Some people started Sunday school to teach children. In Sunday schools, children learned to read and write. They also learned about God and the Bible. Samuel
Slater.
Slater started one of the first Sunday schools in the United States. He owned a factory. And he wanted his workers to learn about God.
Well, that was nice. I like that. That's a positive. So I'm going to read God's blessings, and then you are going to do your crossword puzzle. God's blessings. The War of 1812 made the United States sure of its independence from Great Britain. But some American citizens did not act rightly. Some treated the American Indians and black Americans badly. This would cause problems in the future. And it did. But God blessed Americans with many natural resources. What are natural resources? We've talked about them in the last chapter, actually. James. Natural resources. What are natural resources?
Anything that God created that we people can use.
That is correct. Very good. He also blessed America with a growing number of Christians who wanted to please God. All right, so very interesting. What I want you to do now, the remainder time, is you can work on this crossword puzzle. So Cadence, at this time, they're working on this. So when you are finished with it, I want you to hand it in to your mailbox because we already worked on the other side. So you need to hand this in this Friday, okay? Goodbye.